Hey, Mike with No Problems Gaming here, and today's video will be doing a review and how to play video on the card game Clash of Corgis, so let's get into it. Alright, so now that we have the game out, let's go through a bit on how you play, and then I'll jump into my review after that. So Clash of Corgis actually has 3 different game modes to it, and each one really had their own different type of objective. And so some of these versions can be played for 2 to 4 players, others are just a 2-player game. But first we'll start with the original version. In this version of the game, the goal is to get rid of all of the cards in your hand. And so to start off, each player will get dealt 12 cards, and then you'll set the deck remaining off to the side. And basically how play works is players will need to play cards from their hand in various combos. And so a combo could just be a single card, it could be 2 of the same rank, so 2 ones in this case, again 2 fours, 2 aces, etc. If you had 3 or 4 of a kind, that could be an option as well. So again, like I've got 3 fours here, I could play that down. And so that's kind of the different options. So basically, one player will be the first player, and they will have the opportunity to play a combo that can help them ideally get rid of the most amount of cards. So one thing to note is the rank of the card. So it starts at 1, and then it goes up to ace, but then there's also a wild card. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, ace, and then wild is the top card. And so basically what you can do, I could play a 1 in this case as this player, and then the next player would need to beat that with another higher single card. So again, I could do a 2 as the option on my turn. But one thing to note is that when you play a card, you can activate its ability. And so there's these different reference cards that are included in the game that list out what the ability is. So in this case, I played a 1, so I could privately view the top card of the deck, and if the suit of that card matches a suit from a card in this combo, discard it to win the round. Otherwise, return it to the top of the deck. And so again, each one of these card types has its own unique ability associated with it, and so you'll be able to activate those to help turn the tide of battle in your favor. And so again, I could use that one ability if I want, but let's just keep this rather simplistic for now. Let's say this player plays a 2, then I could go over to the other player. I could play a 3 because that's higher. Again, we go back to this player. I could play a 5 as that would be higher in this case. And again, play really just goes back and forth until the player cannot play any higher cards. Again, maybe I just wanted to go crazy and play a wild because I wanted to win this hand. And I do not have any wilds on this side, so this player would win that hand. So you can just set that off to the side. Now the winner would then take the next turn first. And so I could lay a combo if I wanted. In this case, I could do 2 8s. Now this player would need to play a 2-card combo that is higher than 2 8s. So I couldn't do a 3 of a kind because we're doing a 2 of a kind stack right now. So in this case, my only option would be to do 2 aces. And again, I would win in that case unless this player has another combo that's higher. Doesn't look like I do. Looks like I would just match, which isn't technically better. So then this player would take that round and then go back to them. So let's say I did 3 4s. This player again would need a 3 of a kind. And I actually do have that. This one, I've got 3 aces. So this one, I don't have anything that beats 3 aces. This player would win, and they'd be able to take another turn. And so again, really just goes back and forth between players like this until one player has fully removed all of their cards. And again, as I mentioned, be sure to pay attention to the special abilities listed on the reference card as well. Now the next game is Treasure Island. Now how Treasure Island works is the goal is players will try and gain points or loot by building a party of fighters and defeating foes. And the object is to be the first player with 10 points. And so how the setup works is that you'll start by shuffling the deck and then you'll deal out 3 cards to each player's hand. And then you'll place the remaining cards in the deck face down in the middle of the table, and you'll randomly pick a player to go first. And so starting with the first player and going around the board, each player is going to take a turn, which consists of 3 phases. And so the first phase is to draw until you have 3 cards in your hand. And if you ever need to draw from the deck and it's empty, you just simply shuffle the discards and build a new draw deck. Step 2 is to build your party. And so how this works is you're going to play 1 card from your hand face up in the table, and you'll place this in front of you, and now this is known as your party, and you can have a maximum of 2 cards in your party. And if you already had 2 cards out for your party, you could play a new one, but you just replace one of the other ones that were already out. Now, after you play a card, you can activate its effect. And so similar to the original version, Treasure Island has different powers and abilities for each rank of card. So be sure to check that out as you can activate those at this time. From there, step 3 is to fight. So you need to have at least 1 card laid out in your party, and you have the option to fight. And then you can declare if you want to fight 1, 2, or 3 cards, and you'll take them from the top of the deck here and face off in battle. You also have the option to not fight and simply pass your turn. I would likely do that in this scenario since I only have a skill level of 1, and basically your party's total rank needs to add up higher than the combination of the enemies that you draw in order to defeat them. So I'd likely want to wait until the next turn before doing this. So let's say I had this, and so in this case I would have a total of 10, so I could choose to fight upcoming enemies as well. So let's say I had chosen to fight, I could say 1, I would take 1 out and flip it over, and it looks like I have 10 versus 8, so I won. So then I would capture this and add this to my point total. And each card is just simply worth 1 point. And so again, the goal is to get 10 points worth of loot, or basically 10 cards that you've defeated in combat like this. And so again, if you won, you would add this card to your loot pile, and if you lose, you just simply would not add them to this pile. The third step of this is once your party has fought, win or lose, you'll discard both of them to the discard pile, and then again, it would be the next player's turn. Now, another thing to note with the Treasure Island style of game, that there are different bonuses if you did happen to play certain pairings of cards. So for example, if you played 2 Earth cards at the same time, basically if they had that green symbol or green color, and you did 2 of those, you would activate that effect as well. And again, look to the different combos to see which ones work together. So it's kind of a color bonus matching, or if they happen to be a pair in the same rank, you'd get an extra bonus as well. Again, very simple. That's really the Treasure Island option. Players will continue to fight the ranges of foes coming out from the deck and trying to be the first player to get a stack of 10 cards from defeated enemies. All right, the final game is Capture the Illusionist. And so this game is more of a memory-based game. Players will have the goal of capturing the Illusionist card from the other player's play area 2 times. And so to start off, each player will take the 11 cards of the specific suit. Again, doesn't really matter which one they choose, but again, just pick one of these for each player. In this case, I'm doing green and blue. You'll shuffle these for each player face down, and you'll take 8 cards from the deck without looking at them, and you'll make a stack of 2 sets of 4. So again, I will just shuffle these, and we'll give an example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you'll have your remaining 3 cards, and this will form your hand, and you can actually look at these ones. Again, the other player will do the exact same setup in front of them, having 2 rows of 4. Again, you cannot look at any of these cards unless you use an ability or an aspect of your turn that specifically allows you to do so. So again, how you play is that players will take turns, and each player has 3 phases within their turn. An insight phase, activating a card, and then cooldown. And so your insight phase allows you to look at one hidden card privately from your area to see what it is, and then you return it to that same position. So I could look here and see that this is a 3. I would then know that for the future and put that back face down. The next phase is activating a card. And so I'll have my row here in front of me. If I wanted to, I could activate any face down card. I wouldn't need to know what that card is, but likely I'd want to make sure that I do. So in this case, I could activate that 3 potentially if I wanted, or I could activate any of the cards from my hand. If I did activate a card from my hand, I would simply put it face up in front of me, revealing that to both players. And then if I use this card, I will move it to the side, indicating that it's rested, meaning that I cannot activate it again this turn. Now, when it comes to what these cards actually do, refer to your little card reference sheet here. And again, each specific card rank has its own unique ability that it would activate. So in this case, if I played that ace, the opponent would have to reveal one of their hidden cards of their choice. So again, if the other player had used an ace on me, I would simply have to choose one of the cards I'd want to reveal and put that face up for the rest of the game. The final phase of your turn is a cooldown phase, and what this means is you'll turn any cards that were in the rested state that were not activated this turn to its revealed state, or turning them vertical. This would allow you to then use them on an upcoming turn. Again, the goal of this game is to reveal the illusionist twice on your enemy's card area. And so if the enemy player were to reveal the illusionist on my end, I would have a couple of options. If it's the first time the illusionist has been revealed, I have the ability to save them. And to do so, I would need to discard an ace from my hand or the table, regardless of if it's used or not sideways. And then I would discard that from the game. Thankfully, this time it was face up already for me, so I could save the illusionist. However, if it happened to be face down in one of these cards and I didn't yet know where the ace was, I could take one attempt to guess where it is and hopefully flip the ace up. If I did not have the option to save my illusionist, I would basically take all of the cards. So let's say I had an ace hidden somewhere and I chose wrong. Basically at that point, I would have to take all of my cards and reshuffle them and start the initial setup of the game again. And again, shuffle all my cards and put 8 out again. And then I would start again with my 3 cards in my hand. If I had used my ace to save the illusionist, I would discard the ace from the game and it would no longer be a part of my board. And gameplay would continue on until the other player captured the illusionist twice. So basically the ace, if you know where it is, could give you the option to save your illusionist one of the 2 times it was captured, making the other person need to capture it 3 times in total. But again, basically once you have effectively captured the enemy illusionist twice, you are the winner of this version of Clash of Corgis, Capture the Illusionist. But again, that's basically how you play Clash of Corgis and the different versions. So now that you know how the game works, let's jump into my review. Well, again, now that you know how the game works, how do I actually feel about it? Well, I like that there's different versions that you can play throughout the game. However, I think I would say I like this Capture the Illusionist version the least. Then I think the original mode is probably my second favorite. And then my favorite overall is the Treasure Island option, which is almost like a mini dungeon crawler where you'll be building a party of characters and taking out enemy combatants as you draw them from the deck. I think that one was my favorite, allowed you to utilize the color schemes and match not only pairs or different combos, but also utilize card ability types and pairs of color types to unlock even more potential special abilities. I think that version was the most fun, and I think that's the one I would likely play the most. I wasn't a huge fan of the Capture the Illusionist option. It felt like it played a little bit too long. The original version was pretty fun. It was just kind of getting rid of your cards as quickly as possible. And so again, you'd have the different combos. There was a little bit of strategy to that, especially when you started factoring in the different abilities of the characters. And so I think that added another unique twist to the game. And both the original version and the Treasure Island version were pretty quick to play and were pretty simple to learn. And so I think, again, playing this game in the future, those are probably the two main versions I would stick to. And I think I would most likely not play the Capture the Illusionist option all that much. I really like the art style of the cards. I thought they were super cute. And I do like the element of kind of bringing the fantasy class types into this as well. You've got stuff like the Barbarian, a Mage, a Bard, kind of a Dragoon, Spear User, Healer, different things like that. So that was a really cool aspect to the game as well. I think it's fun for all ages, but overall a little cute, fun game. Probably something fun to play in between maybe longer sessions, as it only takes a few minutes to play. But again, if you did want to pick up a copy of this game, I'll have a link in the description below.
And another really cool way you can help support the channel is we actually partnered with a game store, Nutmeg Games. So if you like board games, Pokemon cards, Magic cards, and more, be sure to head to nutmeggames.com/nerdproblemsgaming and use our promo code nerdproblemsgaming at checkout. You'll get 10% off your order and help support the channel at the same time. So if you want to take advantage of those great deals, be sure to head there as well.
And if you like videos like this on video games, board games, and everything nerdy, check out one of our other videos here. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to get the latest updates of new nerd videos we put out. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.